I'm Linda, and I'm just going to go over some of the fundamentals of the Transformation Ultimate Edge Kit and the Standard Ultimate Edge Kit. We're going to start out on some basics with the PDT Gleason Guide. We'll start out with, you can see the Universal and Sickle side, the Gracie side. On each side there is a stop. This is what we consider the stop. The bar on the outside of the guide is the rest. Again, this is the stop, this is the rest. On the very end of the guide, the angled portion is the toe section of the guide. Now, for some basics on instruments, this is the terminal shank, which you'll hear in the video. This is the toe of the blade, the heel of the blade, and the side underneath is the face of the blade, and then the side on the very back is the back of the blade. The face has the two cutting edges, and the back is the rounded surface. All right, some of the things I've seen beginners do when they're starting out with the Ultimate Edge Kit for the first time is place the toe up against the stop. That is not what we want to do. That will completely misshape your instrument. You want to make sure to put the back of the blade against the stop, bring the terminal shank down to the rest. Again, no toe. Back against the stop, bring the terminal shank down to the rest. Now, another thing that I've seen first starting out, and take a look at the instrument that you've started to try to sharpen. If you're just getting a portion of the blade, you want to get the whole blade. So something that I have seen is placing the instrument into the slot and just moving straight back and forth. Instead of moving straight back and forth, you want to keep your hand in the center of the guide, and in a pendulum motion, move the instrument back and forward, back and forward. That way, as I go back now, I'm getting the toe, forward, I'm getting the heel, so I'm getting the whole length of the blade. Some people like to fulcrum, as I'm doing here, or as you get used to the motion, you do find that you get more freedom of movement without that fulcrum finger. I'm going to turn that over, stop, rest, again, fulcrum or pendulum, that motion, so you get the whole length of the blade. Now, as you're sharpening, if you notice that you're just getting a portion of the blade, say the back part of the bevel is starting to get shiny, that means that you have a little bit of a reverse bevel on your blade. So move the guide over to the transformation stone and start sharpening with it, and that will take more of that bevel down and get you back to the proper angulation on your bevel. So once you notice that you've gotten the whole length of that blade all the way down to the cutting edge, back to the correct bevel, from then on use the finer stone so you don't have to take off as much metal, and you'll get a sharp instrument every time. If you've chosen to purchase the PDT Gleason Guide and use your own stone, one thing to watch out for is make sure that that stone is free of pits and grooves, because when you place the guide on top of your stone, you want to make sure that it has a nice smooth motion and isn't chattering on those pits and grooves. The grooves will actually offset the bevels and the angles that you're trying to place on your instrument. Now, if you're using our stone, or any other stone, I guess, when you're sharpening something that has a very tight bend in the terminal shank, you must make sure that you stop, and when you come to rest, make sure that the terminal shank rests on the rest. Right here, you can see that the shank is actually hitting the stone, so the terminal shank is not allowed to come all the way down. So I move the guide over to the edge of the stone. Again, I place it in, I stop, and I rest. You can see that the terminal shank has come all the way down against the rest. Once in a while, we do see a new user that wants to rest the guide upon a table. And we find that then, if you stop and you rest, you have difficulty accessing all the angles. So it is much easier if you place the stone on your hand and the guide on top of the stone. Stabilize the guide with your thumb and then stop, rest, and go. Thank you again for using the PDT Ultimate Edge Kit. Thousands of hygienists have found that it keeps their instrument sharper longer because the bevel's correct. It's also much faster and easier. It takes very limited time to sharpen each of your instruments. And if you have any additional questions about the sharpening system or about any of our other products, please give us a call at 800-240-9895. Aloha!
If you don't remember what my mom and dad were telling you, you just stop, rest, go on the roller coaster. I'm 7 years old. If I can do it, you can do it.
Okay, ready? 1, 2.
From PDT.
Aloha!
You're supposed to shake your hands like this.
Shake your hands. Happy hands.
Happy
Happy
hands.
hands.